Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DSP versus the Internet, episode 84. So far, the Ultra member submissions have been great. We do need to make some momentum movement here, so let's continue on and see what's next. So the story trailer. We've seen a trailer already for this, but not the story trailer. So let's see what the story trailer is for Sonic X Shadow Generation.
It is time to awaken the ultimate life. Welcome to the world, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I don't know Shadow's backstory. So he's genetically engineered. He's not a natural being. They just made him in a test tube. Yeah, what is up with this demon that interacts with Shadow?
Black Doom. I destroyed you once. I will do it again.
Black Doom?
No
Ancient
mistakes.
foe awakens.
We'll finish this here and now.
Then return to the ultimate adventure. This is gonna be wild. Playing this on PC is gonna be crazy.
I'll take this power and use it as my
When they say unleash new abilities, are these actual new abilities? Or is that this, you know, were they in the original game, or is this new content that they've added? I wonder. Right? I don't know.
I shall put your power to the test.
This time, I will crush every last one of them.
Find all these different demons.
Yes.
They are new. Gadaro says, no, these powers are new. They weren't in the original game. Okay, interesting. Well, I never played the original, so I wouldn't even know, you know, I guess.
We'll destroy
Different.
you.
This.
Maria?
What's that? Are they saying they're going to add new backstory that wasn't in the original games in this new one? I'll be playing this. You guys said you wanted me to play it. I'm down for it. I loved the original Sonic Generations. And if this is a game that's like similar but with Shadow, I'm down for that. Yeah. Shadow used guns in the original game, so I guess they want to shy away from that. New abilities and a story continuation. In the original game, Shadow had guns. So they took away his guns and gave him different powers now. Whoa. That's weird. Huh. Play it on PS5? Why would I play it on PS5? If it's on PC, I want PC, of course. Right? I mean, I could play it on PS5. I'm sure it wouldn't look much different. Right? Okay, hold on. I have a couple contributions that just came in. So first of all, I received a $25 tip from anonymous tipper saying RiffTrax fan, a true man of culture. In reality, I've never listened to the RiffTrax. I liked Mystery Science Theater 3000. I loved that show back in the day. I used to watch it all the time and laugh my ass off at it. I know of RiffTrax, but I've actually never done a RiffTrax. Like, I've never rented one and listened to it. I'm sure it's hilarious because it's just with modern content, right? As opposed to those public domain movies. So thank you with that. Still an anonymous tipper, but that's a $25 tip. And that will jump us up to $94 in tips. So we are just about 2/3 of the way to filling the King's coffers, continuing the King streak. Now, also, FYI, someone tipped me $1, but it got frozen by PayPal, and I don't know why. When a PayPal tip gets frozen, I'm not allowed to see it. It just basically says a payment is pending. So I don't know who it's from, and I don't know why it got frozen. I'm sorry I can't shout you out. I appreciate it. Hopefully it does clear, but I'm sorry. I can't see it. All right? Okay. That's funny. Only in Generations to appear kid-friendly, the guns will return. Well, I'm curious. Again, I didn't play any of the Shadow games. So for me, this will be my first exposure to the Shadow games. I did play Sonic Adventure 2 that he was in, and I did play Sonic 06 that he was in, but I didn't play his games. So I think that'll be interesting to see what it's like in its own game. So, and that's coming. I'm playing that in a month for sure. Okay, Continuing on, what's next? For the record, because people have asked me questions about video length, I'm not going to watch a 32-minute video. I will watch some of it. There's no chance I'm going to be watching 32 minutes of this video. It's way too long for this React style format where I got to get through a lot of clips in an afternoon. I'll watch a little bit of it, though.
The Marvel vs. games bring all kinds of personalities to the table. Super soldiers, short-tempered mutants with indestructible skeletons, eldritch beings that consume dimensions for breakfast, there's all types here. So naturally, it makes sense that the Prince of Hell, at least in Marvel terms, gets in on the action too. Blackheart is the son of Mephisto, Marvel's analog to Satan. I say analog because he's not actually Satan or related to any of those concepts from Christianity, but instead an extremely powerful demon that rules his own dimension. That said, he certainly fulfills and even leans into that role on a fairly regular basis. In a small town named Christ's Crown in New York, Mephisto finds a long history of murders that go back centuries. Taking all of the evil energy that built up over all of that time, he creates a son for himself, that son being Blackheart. Mephisto would teach Blackheart about the nature of evil, especially in mankind, and send him into the world to learn more for himself.
And that's what Mephisto really looks like. I know Mephisto at one point just looked like a generic devil, but now it looks like they changed his appearance. He looks like that. Oh, wow.
Created by writer Ann Nocenti and artist John Romita Jr., Blackheart's one of the more underused characters in Marvel's stable. I know that's a funny thing to say when Shuma Gorath exists, but around the time Blackheart had appeared in Marvel Superheroes, he'd been in just about as many comic issues as Shuma, which is to say, not many. Being a creation of Mephisto, Ghost Rider is the Marvel character Blackheart is generally associated with the most, but his debut and first major stories were actually in the pages of Daredevil, debuting in issue 270. Blackheart is a pretty powerful demon, all things considered. Coming out victorious against him usually involves either outsmarting him entirely or bringing in heavy hitters like Doctor Strange or Ghost Rider to put him down. That said, he's not as powerful as his dad, but he does share a lot of the same basic abilities, like mental manipulation, shape-shifting, and creating realistic illusions. After some time learning about the nature of evil from his father and some confrontations with Marvel heroes, Blackheart comes to the conclusion that his father's methods are archaic and instead seeks to overthrow him and rule Mephisto's realm for himself. This
that's
pretty much
interesting.
defines Blackheart's character from this point on. Everything he does is in service of acquiring enough power to overthrow his father. Being associated with the mystical side of Marvel the most, he usually runs into characters on that side of Marvel, like Doctor Strange, Magic, and Ghost Rider, though he'd also cross paths with characters like Wolverine, Punisher, and Wonder Man. He was the main antagonist of the first Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movie.
Yeah, it was really bad. Look at that. That's supposed to be Blackheart. Look at him. The fuck? Yeah, it looks just like him.
But, well, opinions on that movie are divided, to say the least. He's had a handful of modern appearances as of late, though curiously enough, most of these appearances had him facing off against Miles Morales. Even more curious is the redesign he sports in some of these stories, which, well, I guess it's up to you whether you hate it or love it. I prefer his original design, but don't necessarily hate this one. Blackheart debuts as one of 4 playable base roster villains in Marvel Superheroes, being the game's other deep pull roster pick alongside Shuma. He's voiced in all of his Capcom fighting game appearances by James Woolvett. Woolvett's a Canadian actor that's been in a few films and TV shows from the 90s all the way to the late 2000s. What I find particularly interesting is that Blackheart is his only known voice acting role in his entire acting portfolio.
What the hell? How'd they get him for that
early
then?
Versus games generally recorded in Canada, as was the case for most of the Marvel cartoons back then. But I do wonder what the story is behind him being cast for the role. That's not to say he sounds unfitting or anything, just the opposite. He seems to have a voice filter that's pitched down a bit to make a demonic sounding voice, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
His voice clip when he wins a match is one of the more memorable in the series in my opinion. All that said, let's get into his initial Capcom fighting debut.
I like the history of the character, but so basically in Marvel Superheroes, he's a unique character. He throws demons around, and if it latches onto you, you get stunned, and then he can follow up with a move or combo or even a super. He's decent in Marvel superheroes, but he's not like top tier. He has some decent combo ability, but not great. And he's kind of slow. In Marvel vs. Capcom, well, he was also in Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, and in that, he's also kind of mid-tier. He's not great. In Marvel vs. Capcom 2, in the first year to 2 years that MVC2 was out, he actually was top tier. One of the best teams in the game of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was... Yeah, here he is. One of the best teams in MVC2 was Blackheart, Dr. Doom, Captain Commando. Because he could jump around tossing his demons and have Dr. Doom come out with his projectile assist and do tons of chip damage. And then he could do 2 ground hits into Captain Commando, which would launch you into the sky. And then he could do his column into super. And it was very, very good to keep enemies away and would be big damage. And particularly, if he caught you with a jumping roundhouse where he throws these green demons out, you get stunned, and he could keep super jump canceling back and forth doing that, and it would create an infinite juggle. And he could do it over and over until you're dizzy, and then he could destroy you. So he was quite good the first year. The problem is, he's slow and relies on assists to keep people off of him. So once the meta of this game changed to be Rushdown, and you had Magneto, Storm, Sentinel, and the like that were constantly attacking you, he cannot hang at all. He gets overwhelmed by Rushdown. So he was good for the first year, year and a half, 2 years roughly. And then when the meta changed to be all Rushdown, he fell off all the tier lists and no one used him anymore. So there you go. We don't even have to react to the whole video because I know the history and I can abbreviate it. Okay. I received a $1.50 tip. I'll give you a summary of Shadow's backstory. He was introduced in Sonic Adventure 2, and it was revealed at the end that he was created by Eggman's grandfather, Gerald. The government shut down Gerald's research facility, executed him, and killed Gerald's granddaughter, Maria, who Shadow had grown attached to. In Shadow's own game, it was expanded that Gerald used the blood of an alien conqueror called Black Doom to create him, who was the demonic figure seen in the trailer. Shadow killed him in that game, but now he's back, I guess. Okay. Well, that's interesting. All right, thank you for that little backstory. So basically, this Sonic X Generations is going to have the history of Shadow plus new Shadow content as well. Cool. I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's move on to the next video.
In a world where strength and honor are everything,
I smell AI.
gather to prove their might.
I smell AI. Oh boy, this is AI.
Makes him
Look at
a
this.
force to be reckoned with. Introducing Ken, a fiery fighter whose Shoryuken ignites the battlefield. Here's Chun-Li, the powerful
Super
Interpol
AI.
officer, taking down foes with her lightning-fast
Oh,
kicks.
that is not a proportionate
Guile.
body. If she was that skinny, she would move, she'd snap her spine in half. Look at Guile.
The disciplined soldier, cutting through the air with his unstoppable sonic boom. Say hello to...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Did you see his hands? Hold on. Dude, look at his hands. Yo, he's got 6 fingers. No, he's got 7 fingers. Here, I'll show you. I'm going to remove the DSPReacts logo for a second. Great AI, bro. Look at his hand. He's got 5 fingers, a thumb, and another weird finger poking out. He's got 7 fingers. This is the problem with AI, man. How does AI not know that 7 fingers is too fucking much? Right? Like, that is hilarious. AI Guile has 7 fucking fingers. What the hell? Yeah, his armpits are also insanely unrealistic. Look at that. Oh my god. All right, let's continue.
Say hello to E. Honda, the sumo champion, proving the power of...
Look how fake his eyes
Alone
are.
with
Look how completely disproportionate his eyes are to real human eyes.
his legendary 100-hand slap. Enter Blanca, the wild man from Brazil.
Oh yeah, Blanca.
Electrifying opponents with his untamed power.
He looks like an action figure, right?
Meet Zangief, the Russian wrestler, devastating challenges with his powerful spinning pile driver.
If he's a Russian wrestler, why is he a boxer?
Introducing Dalsim,
Oh my god, yo, Dalsim is the face of The Rock.
yoga master, burning with spiritual power in his intense yoga flame. Here comes Balrog, the brutal
And what? And he's Mike Tyson. Look, that's definitely a Mike Tyson hybrid face.
Boxer, landing punches with the
Yeah, that's
power
Mike Tyson
of a
blended
freight
with other
train.
stuff.
And now Vega.
Oh my God, what did they do to Vega? Yo, why does Vega have a butterfly on his head? What is going on here?
Masked Matador, striking with the deadly grace of his flying Barcelona attack. Witness Sagat, the emperor of Muay Thai, bringing even the strongest to their knees with his tiger uppercut.
Why do they have them posing just doing this? This is the weirdest thing. Oh, why are they doing that?
And towering above all,
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yo, look at his face. Oh, my God. Yo, he has like 400 teeth. Look how many teeth he has in that smile. Oh, my God. Yo, that's the worst I think I've ever seen AI generate. Are you kidding me? What the hell, dude? Yo, it's a contorted, hideous face. Oh.
M. Bison, the relentless tyrant.
Oh my
commanding fear
God,
and
it's so
respect
bad.
with
It's
his
so
Psycho
fake.
Crusher. Prepare for the ultimate showdown as the world's greatest
Wow.
fighters clash. Street Fighter. Coming
Look at this. Street Fighter. And then Street Fighter 2. That was so bad. AI is so bad at this shit, man.
soon in glorious Technicolor to a theater near you.
That looked terrible. Absolutely terrible, dude.
This is Jonathan Ferguson, the keeper of firearms and artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And this week he's taking a look at the weaponry from the grim dark future of the 41st millennium in Warhammer 40k Darktide.
This is a real closest we've
So
got.
Darktide was the game that's very similar to like Left 4 Dead, correct? It's first person, you fight hordes of these enemies, I think.
So far to a bolter in terms of this idea of rocket ammunition. Fascinating area of technology. This is a sort of highly stylized, idealized version of it.
Make sure to subscribe and check out our previous episode on the weapons of Warhammer 40k when Jonathan took a look at the guns from Necromunda. And if you like this kind of content, we've got a brand new season of Loadout airing on the channel right now. New episodes will launch every Sunday, and you can already check out our previous episode on the Scar. Right, let's take a look at the weapons of Darktide.
Did this look like the guns
First
that were
impressions,
in?
very good.
We just played Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Did that look like the gun from that? Oh no, looks a little different.
This looks like a functional, believable firearm, albeit a bit chunky and bulky for what it's firing, which appears to
Isn't
be
that? But couldn't that be said for all the guns in Warhammer 40k? They all look bulky and chunky, similar to like Gears of War weapons, right?
conventional brass case center fire ammunition. Otherwise, we've got proper controls. We've got a left-hand charging handle, a proper magazine catch. A game like this would typically just have the player rip the magazine out of the gun magically and shove in another one. But this has a thumb catch on the left side for you to operate. Now, the aiming of this does not let you use the sights by the look of it. This is much more like an old school FPS rifle where it just maybe zooms your view in a bit and reduces your dispersion, but you're not aiming, you're not ADSing. Design-wise, it's hard to deny that it doesn't resemble an AK, or maybe more like a Saiga sporting rifle with that left-hand charging handle, or Saiga.
Okay. The Shredder auto pistol.
A shoulder stock, or indeed, I think,
See, every gun is chunky. Every single gun in Warhammer is like a chunky boy.
For it. The design of this thing really does look suitably Warhammer. What I'm noticing here is obviously the Warhammer series goes back into the 1980s, 40k specifically, and so you have a sci-fi aesthetic rooted in that era, and so you wouldn't have any Picatinny rails. You wouldn't have little sort of learned details like the magazine catch that also has a handy shroud around it of that style. That looks to be a lift from the FN Scar or a similar modern rifle. And it's on the auto rifle. It's on this SMG as well. So little details like that where I suppose they're sort of like they're retcons, very very minor retcons, but
Hold on. I have a shout out to do. Mr. Jupel just did a $5 super chat, and he says, "Hail to the king." Thank you, Mr. Jupel, for the super chat. I appreciate that very, very much. And let's get that up on the leaderboard. That is 5, so we add that. So we are now 2/3 of the way to the goal. Continuing on the King streak this afternoon here on DSP Reacts. And, hold on a second. A Naughty Moose has just tipped $50 on the stream. A $50 contribution from a Naughty Moose. Thank you so very, very much to Naughty Moose. That is the biggest tip of the day. Let's get that up on the leaderboard first of all. That gets us to 150. And guess what that means, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you what it means. It means the King's streak continues this week at 6. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make it rain here on DSP Reacts. I want to say thank you, everyone, for supporting my content over the last 2 months. It's been amazing. You guys have been awesome. Doesn't matter if I'm on DSP Gaming doing a podcast or gameplay, if I'm on DSP Reacts reacting to clips or a documentary, if I'm on DSP Throwback watching stuff from yesteryear, you guys are here for it. You guys are supporting. You guys are hitting with engagement, likes on the videos and streams. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate you all for supporting my content. Thank you. And thank you to the Naughty Moose for that very big tip that allowed that to happen. And by the way, if you happen to like this shirt, my merch store launched this today, darksidephil.shop. You can get t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, tote bags, all kinds of stuff, all with these awesome designs. Please give it a look. And thank you so very much to everyone who supports me on the internet. You guys are amazing. So thank you very much, Naughty Moose. I can't believe we did it, but we did it again. We've hit all the goals, and now we continue on with an awesome afternoon of reacting. All right. Thank you all very much. And thank you, Mr. Jupel, for that super chat as well. Here we go.
Original weapons from the first couple of decades of this franchise, needless to say, wouldn't have had those features of modern firearms. Now they haven't gone wild. They haven't made this stuff look like Call of Duty, which is great. Point is, a lot of these things are going to be designed to look cool and interesting, but then we do have these little hints.
A flamer. Look at this. Flamethrower.
Flamethrower, flamer, whatever you want to call it, incinerator unit. Definitely something I associate with this universe. It's hard to give a flame projector presence because there are no working parts, there's no case ejection, the muzzle flash is literally the whole event here. That in itself is pretty impressive, but importantly, the way that if the flame reaches a surface, it sticks and it burns. That's the critical thing. The big deal is this is thickened fuel that you are squirting at high pressure that happens to be on fire. So it doesn't just create heat damage and then stop creating heat damage. Continues to burn.
Cool.
And we see that
so he's saying it's realistic that a real flamethrower would work like that because you're shooting in, heated fuel. It would burn on the walls and the things you're spraying. It wouldn't just like a normal flamethrower in a video game just shows flame and then just goes away. He's saying that's not what would happen. I didn't even know that. That's cool to know that it's realistic like that.
Great effect with the enemies. Two main methods of use for this thing as well, and because of that burning effect, kind of want to share the love a bit and give short bursts to a number of weaker enemies.
Yeah,
and then
damage over
focus
time
your
on little
main
enemies.
Burst of fire onto the bigger ones or something of that nature. Well, this appears to have automated that process, so you've got the ability to deliberately squirt short bursts and then to give it the full blast when you need to.
That
might have a relevance in.
Whoa.
This thing
What
is
is
a lot of
this?
fun. This is a semi-automatic grenade launcher of some kind that is, I think it's described as a gauntlet, and that sort of fits in that it's some of the receiver wraps around the hand. You can see this. You don't need me to tell you that, which allows it to be used. And I guess where the gauntlet part really comes in, it can be used by these massive dudes as a melee weapon. He's certainly firing it with both hands when he's actually firing it as a grenade launcher. But then when he goes to town and clobbers people, it's just a one-handed weapon. Behaves, I would say, and even sounds a lot like something like an M32. Any repeating grenade launcher has that bloop sound, and that's somewhat realistic. You can see
That's pretty
that
crazy that he's saying that it's all realistic.
Quite fun.
Bolt gun?
All right, so I'm on more familiar ground with this thing because even I know about bolt guns or bolters. This has got to be a little diddy one for normal human-sized people. So I'm getting from the information on the screen, in fact, that you get automatic fire when hip-fired and semi-automatic when aimed. Now, of course, this thing doesn't have a buttstock unless it's modifiable to have one. And from memory, I don't remember bolters even having one. I guess the idea with the Space Marine, at least in my head, would be that he'd be able to hold this thing rock solid steady without having a buttstock. Not the case for ordinary people. But then if you put a buttstock on it, it doesn't really have the classic silhouette. This is a real closest we've got so far to a bolter in terms of this idea of rocket ammunition. It's very, very basic. It's a die-cast metal body with a simple steel tube set into that and a rear-acting hammer that fires backward onto the nose of the round. It's not really a cartridge because it's a self-contained round. So the nose doesn't actually do anything, but that pushes it back onto the primer. It does have a center fire primer buried in it, you won't be able to see. That then fires the round, and then there are 4 base exhaust holes, and that's the exhaust that propels the round.
It's very different from how a standard gun works. That's interesting. This is fascinating, but we've watched, we're skimming through it for about 10 minutes, and I feel like we should move on to the next video. I believe we're almost done with the Ultra Member submissions. We only have one left. In fact, you know what? Let's just watch it now. Let's just watch this right now, and then next video we can move on to the submissions to your random playlist. Here we go.
With stress on a daily basis, sometimes it just seems like everything is going wrong.
Oh, God.
We all have bad days, and I know I gotta keep the faith. After all, people's lives are dependent on me.
Hell? Why would he have 2 candelabras? What the hell? What's going on?
To keep everyone safe, I need to keep a handle on the situation.
Weird.
Unfortunately, with PC gaming, that's not always possible. I have to admit, it wasn't too long ago I almost threw in the towel. But that all changed when I had a revelation.
PlayStation instead of PC gaming.
When I went over to console gaming, I finally felt something that everyone in my position always dreams of. A sense of control.
I find this funny because is this an ad for a real game? It is. But man, that's kind of how I felt for a long time was when I play on console, I have a sense of control. Usually when you own a console, whether it's PS5, Xbox Series S or X, Switch, when you turn that sucker on, you have a game installed, it's going to run, you're going to play, you're going to be fine. There are exceptions to that rule where sometimes the games will have issues and crash, but for the most part, it's smooth sailing on console. All right, I've now had a gaming PC for about 2 months. It's a great gaming PC. It's not top of the line, but it's pretty darn powerful. Out of all the games I've played in the last 2 months, the one that I had the most issues with was Star Wars Outlaws, which ran poorly on release day, and even though I tweaked it a lot, it still kind of ran poorly in any open world setting. All the other games I played ran nicely. There's been a few blips and bloops here and there with issues. Sometimes the game will crash. Sometimes certain games you can't minimize to do other stuff. You try, and then they like crap out on you. I've had issues with the PC, and the technical issues are kind of all over the place. Definitely, I will argue that the consoles are more consistent. As a content creator, if I want to every day be here on stream with no technical issues, the consoles are more solid. But man, having a gaming PC has given me so much flexibility. Look, right now, this show we're doing on my PC. All the stuff I've been doing now with interviews, Discord, Zoom calls, it goes through this gaming PC much better. I have everything all in one spot, And it does so, it's like the jack of all trades. It does everything now. I don't have to have console for this, capture PC for this going for this. It's all in one. So it's kind of nice for that. And man, I do like the ability that for most games, I'm playing them at the best quality. You know, I'm getting 1080p, but 120 hertz, 120 frames per second, max lighting, max ultra settings that I'm not going to get playing on console, right? So there's definitely a trade-off. I feel like now that we're heading into the busiest time of the game of the year for games, I'm going to start having more problems. Like, I bet you half the games I buy, there's going to be some issues with something where I have to kind of tweak it or mess with it, right? But for the most part, dude, I really have enjoyed jumping into PC gaming a lot. I'm having a great time with it. I hope that you guys are enjoying it. Can't wait to play all these new games on it. But the thing is, I totally understand the rationale this ad is making for this game being on console.
Now, whatever fate has in store for me, I know I'll accept it with a smile on my face. Meanwhile, I'm grabbing the world by the balls, squeezing them in my powerful hands. I've earned it. I deserve it. You deserve it.
So, this is the Police gameplay trailer PS4. This was very old. Wow, this trailer was from 2017, so this was pre-PS5. But I totally get it. I do. I understand both arguments both ways. I think both arguments are valid. If you want the absolute best experience, most versatility, and best graphics, it's PC. But the trade-off there is having to work with driver updates, having to work with errors, games not being optimized at launch, crashes and the like. You don't typically have those issues on console. So there's that trade-off. Well, what I'll say, though, is, controls. I don't even think controls matter anymore because now you could use any controller on PC. Like right now, you could use a DualSense. You could use an Xbox controller on PC. So it's as if you're controlling it the same way. If you're not for keyboard and mouse, and you just like the controller, you're used to it. It's simple now to do. So, all right. So, guys, thank you. That's the Ultra Member submissions. In the next video, we're going to move on to the standard submissions, which we're going to do in a random order to make it fair. All right. We don't need the loop. Yeah, we want shuffle, but we don't want loop. Correct. Or do we want loop? I guess maybe we do want loop. But if we do loop, it might play the same one twice. I guess we'll go with shuffle and see what happens. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Great stream so far. We still have the second half to come of the submissions tier. And I will see you in the next part. Thanks a lot. See you then.